Welcome back to OKC, and we are back for part two of equivalence. In part one, we were talking about us as humans, and right now, the status and the state of our world and the different things going on. So, equivalent. Something that has the same value, use, meaning, as another thing. So we have spoken about Ukraine, Israel, and Palestine. So we start off by asking the question, aren't we all the same? Human, right? And when I said human, I'm speaking of HUE, because we have a hard time understanding whether we're all the same or not, that we are all different. We are the same, but we are different. We are of different colors, backgrounds, ideologies, etc. And we stand for different things. So we spoke about Israel and Palestine and the war that started with Israel and Palestine, October 7th. We talked about how everyone has been rallying for either side. We talk about the war with Ukraine and Russia and how that started, I believe, February, and how everybody has been warring against that for either side and the things that have been going on. And we started talking about Syria, and we got to the time limit, and I cut off the video and said I would come back for part two. So we are back for part two. So we're just going to go back over some things with Syria. So Syria started in January as far as what's going on right now and what everyone has been wanting to protest about. And right now, what I believe Rubio and other people in our American government have been calling to the cease of, and it has been the massacres in Syria of Christians. And we got to a point in the video where we came across some information that I was relaying about Alawites, and we went to get the definition of Alawites and figure out who these group of people were. And we found out that the Alawites are an Arab ethno-religious group who live in the Levant region in West Asia. And I believe we talked about it was kind of a mix up, a mash up of Islam and Christianity put together. So they believed in a trinity and different things like that. So this is the current area where the massacres have been occurring. And I believe we started talking about the disproportionate outrage between about what's really going on, right? So there is a disproportionate outrage there. So more of an outcry about the Christians, for people who identify as Christians in that region, who have been killed and martyred, versus an outcry for the Alawites as well, who have been martyred in that region and killed for whatever reason they're killing them. Like, for one, that's crazy. But we were talking about that, and we ended with trying to figure out who the Alawites were. So far, there seems to be over, and I would say at least 2,000 people have been murdered so far. Entire families, they have been going in entire families' homes and murdering them. They have been posting these videos to Facebook and social media, and it I have no words for it. I did not go look for any of these videos. I'm not going to go look for any of these videos. I really don't respect anybody who posts stuff like that. I understand reporting the news or wanting to be a quote unquote journalist or show what's going on. But when it comes to murdering people, children, for no reason, no cause, like I'm not with it. I'm not with people showing like accident videos. Like I know a family member of mine was killed in Atlanta in a tractor trailer accident. They were the only fatality, a big pileup, but they were the only ones that died. And people were riding past and videotaped it, and it was on social media before we were ever even the full family was notified of the situation. It is despicable. It is crazy. And I admit at times I have been guilty of clicking on some of these videos and looking. And though it makes me do other things and puts me in a different mind frame, I'm still entertaining the nonsense. So I don't want to put that up here. I don't want to expose that. I don't want to look it up. Even with the news reports and the different stuff they're showing, because foreign news, they give it all. They will show you the dead bodies. And I don't have an issue with looking at any of that, but showing it and exposing anybody on this page to it without their consent, I'm not truly with. So if you want to go and research any of these situations, there are plenty of things on social media, in media in general, on the news, online, on the web, that you can access and see the devastation that's occurring in these areas. Excuse me. So, there has been a lot brewing with this situation. A lot more is coming up. Right now, there has not really been any major news releases about this situation. There's been something, I think, the past 2 days ago. They came out with an article about the situation over there, Hama and Latakia provinces in Syria. Let's see if that's up here. Hama and Latakia. Okay. It talks about a woman who played dead after gunmen killed her family in her village. And they shot her in her chest, but she survived. And so it's crazy that they say they're not going to give her full name because, and for the safety of the others as well that survived, but they give her name, partial of her name. I'm not even going to give her name because I still think that is a key to finding this person. That's crazy that you would even give any inkling of who she is. But it's a blessing that she survived this and is able to tell her story. And I hope she makes many more years to come and God allows her to fulfill her purpose on this earth. This is crazy. So it's talking about the president, Ahmed al-Sharaz. Government has formed a 7-person committee to investigate the killings and abuses against the civilians, but have yet to release any findings. They say they're still listening to witness testimonies and such. Yeah, this, I'm not really sure how they don't have any information or whatever, but it's definitely crazy. They're not really given a lot. The Assad regime, which ruled Syria for 52 years. Mr. Assad fled to Russia in December. The army was disbanded. Interesting. Interesting. This article is so weird. It talks as if the Alawites is at fault or the Sunnis. So I'm not sure. Um, I'm really not sure why they're killing people over there, aside from the governments and the president that fled. Says a lot of them fled across the border to Lebanon. It says video footage filmed in the region showed unarmed men being executed, beaten, and even forced to howl like dogs. Witnesses say the perpetrators were mostly Syrians, sometimes locals, and in some cases, foreign jihadis. Alawite shrines were desecrated and Qurans burned during the chaotic coastal crackdown. Um, so once again, I believe I spoke about this in the first video when I was speaking about Israel and Palestine, that your people are killing your own people. Um, and then trying to put it off on other people, but that's no different than America and how America operates. And there's a lot of domestic terrorism that we consider, or that they will lie and say is foreign terrorism or international, however, whatever they want to decree it as, right? And it be Americans, or it be the American government trying to stage a coup in whatever way to gain resources, territory, allies, um, citizen support. So it's very interesting that we as a world, once again, we're not the same, but obviously we are somewhat the same if we're making the same choices. And when I say we, I mean we loosely, because if we look at the government, let's just say they're one and the same. They're brothers, sisters, in the same, in a physical slash spiritual sense, where their ultimate goal may be power, um, money, authority, territory, resources. So, with that type of spirit come certain actions in order to get that certain energy has to be executed and put out in order to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So if you need power, you're going to execute your energy a certain way to achieve that power. Now you can execute it in a positive, high vibration, loving manner, or you can execute it in a low vibration, dark, evil manner. Once again, we have choices. The government is no different. At the end of the day, they are people, energy beings inside of a system. And yeah. So let's see. What I want to hit on really quick before I move to my next point. So we know right now America is calling for Syria, for the massacres in Syria to stop. They're calling for the Syrian government to step in and to handle the perpetrators of these massacres. And I agree. I agree with that with Israel and Palestine. Both sides should stop and understand the toll and the detriment that they're taking and they're having on their people and their community, their brothers and sisters. They're one and the same, whether they truly want to believe that or not. Ukraine and Russia, whether they want to believe it or not, they are one in the same and causing the same detriment on their own brothers and sisters. Same thing that goes with Syria. You have Syrians killing Alawites and people who identify as Christians or Alawites when essentially they're your brothers and sisters, one in the same. But because of their opinions, their ideologies, how they choose to live their life, you choose to look at them as either beneath you or whatever, not worthy of life, when that could be far from the truth. Because if you are worthy of life, then they too are worthy. Because if they are not worthy, then you're not worthy. Because as above, so below, as within, so without. One cannot be true without the other being true. Whether light or dark, whether you think somebody is evil or whether you think they're good, everyone has a place in this world. And to be honest, you're not God. You have no authority to call judgment, to call out somebody's life as fact. You don't know what their purpose is in this life, what their placement is, whether good or bad. Yes, people are here that are bad and they are purpose for that specific reason, because they have to help someone who is good within the light to usher in their purpose. I.e., that's why you had Judas and Jesus. Now, whether that was really their names or not, which another video we will get to, you have literally, it's just the symbology right there, two J's, one and the same. Identical, but not identical. You could have one that's in the light and one that's in the dark. You have one that was fathered by the God of this world, earth, and one that was fathered by the God of all space, time, and continuity, like the source of all sources, the one that is the one beyond the beyond, right? Two completely, though they share the same, they don't. Two completely different sides of the coin. It's the same coin, but two sides of it. But it was necessary. Judas was purposed for the one of this world's sake, so that he could utilize Judas. While the one of the universe, the higher source, Jesus, was utilized for his sake, so that he could have his purpose. But if it wasn't for Judas's bullshit, right, Jesus would have never reached his purpose. Now, it's not to say he would have never reached his purpose. It just would have gave Judas an opportunity to change the trajectory. So if Judas chose to be a good person, it's always someone else in the world who chooses the bad, right? It would have just gave somebody else the opportunity to now be that Judas. And maybe Judas' name would have changed and his name would have never been in history, Judas. Maybe he would have been a Thomas or a Peter or hella Kareem or a Homer or Jamal or Aaron. And Judas would have been somebody else. Because at the end of the day, it was still necessary for a Judas so that Jesus could become Jesus. That's all I'm saying. So right now, there are a few genocides that have been going on and are still going on. There has been genocides in Myanmar. And I know that it's so crazy because I was going to speak about this. I started these videos. I don't even know when I'm going to release this, but as of right now, it is the 30th. And I started doing these videos. I started planning them 2 weeks ago. And I started recording almost a week ago. And didn't Myanmar just have a big earthquake? So, anyways, so far, they say, and I say they say, because we don't know for sure, and they don't know for sure. And when it comes to stuff like this, we can't really trust anybody to be completely honest. So they're calling all of these ethnic cleansings. So far, they say up to 3,000 people have been killed in Myanmar, and at least 270,000 people have been displaced. And we got South Sudan. And this has been going on since 2013, where there has been murders, rapes, complete genocides of Sudanese people. Then we have Syria again, where this has been going on for 10 years with the massacring of people. So right now it restarted in January, where they mainly talked about Christians, and we know now that the Alawites are involved, and nobody's really warring for them. So since 2014 in Syria, why was I about to say Chirac? In Syria, it says that the Yazidis, the Shiites, Iraq, as well as the Syrian Christians living both in Syria and Iraq, have been targeted. In brutal genocidal campaigns in both countries, ISIS sought to systematically exterminate Yazidis, Shiites, and Christians and destroy their villages. They also carry out mass rapes in these communities as well. So far, thousands of people have been killed, and I wish they would give a number, but once again, I'm sure they really don't have the number of the amount of people being killed. So then we have Central African Republic, where we got the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and Chad since 2013. where the president was overthrown by Muslims, and they started murdering Christians. Now, what they showing, I'm not even sure why they even have that picture up there. But they're not even talking about how many people have been killed, but they just say a very deep ethnic cleansing. And when we hear that, and they say that, when I hear that, when they say that, the thing I think about the most is people of color. People of color. And this is all the pictures that they've been showing is people of color. So the last place that they have on this list is Darfur in Sudan. It was recognized as the first genocide of the 21st century, starting in the mid-2000s. In the mid-2000s, I was going through some stuff. I was getting ready to graduate high school. My brother had just died. Never even yet. Look, there you go, 2003. My brother died that year. I was in 8th grade. I was not even in the right mind frame to ever even hear about this. And it's sad. Because if I was, I probably would have tried even as a 12-year-old to do something, 13-year-old to do something. The ethnic killings began in 2003 when ethnically Arab militias supported by Sudan's president Omar Hassan al-Bashir began massacring non-Arab people and destroying their villages. The main victims of these campaigns have been the Fur people, but other small non-Arab groups were also affected. In 2016 and 17, violence increased in Darfur, and many refugee camps for internally displaced Darfuris have been attacked by Arab forces in a continuation of the genocide of the 2000s. So basically what they're saying is, they're just out there killing black people just because they are fucking black people. But let's talk about it. Africa. So I believe the areas they was talking about is over here. And then we got over here in this area. And then, of course, over here, which they love to say is not part of Africa, but it is a part of Africa because that is the little piece that was just probably like considered a river or ocean, or not an ocean, but a river or lake, a sea. And they just want to separate it to say that Israel and Jerusalem and stuff is not part of Africa. But let's be real. That is where that missing chunk is. So Africa is full of wars right now, whether we're talking about Israel, Palestine, Jerusalem, Syria, Chad, South Sudan, South Africa, Ethiopia, Democratic Congo. And I'm just trying to go off of memory. I don't necessarily know if I'm on the money where I'm circling, but I believe these are the areas. But we know that we spoke about all the other places. Everybody's warring, protesting for no matter what side you're on. You're standing firm in your beliefs. America is taking sides with who America wants to take sides with and calling for the cease or the end of the war based on the sides they're choosing. And that's America. Once again, I don't agree with any parts in any wars. You can't change my mind about it. You can't force me to change my mind about it. But what I would like to point out with the new place that we're on right now with Africa. The continent of Africa is full of many countries. Those many countries have many states. Those states have cities, counties, countries, suburbs, cities, whatever, there's a lot of ethnic killings going on that have been going on for years that have not been addressed. It has not been called for them to stop. America has not got involved. Right now, I believe the only thing America is truly involved in is like resources, trying to stop Africa from making deals with Britain, with making deals with Russia, China, and so forth. They're trying to bring, Trump right now is trying to bring white South Africans and give them asylum in America because the true Africans are tired of Caucasians taking their shit. So they're finally putting their fucking foot down. And I'm sorry that y'all white asses are so fucking sad and pathetic that you think it is what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? You're being racially discriminated against. You're being targeted. You're being you're having hate crimes against you. But y'all don't want to address the hate that y'all have shown this fucking country since y'all realized it was there, because y'all don't never discover shit. You can't discover it. It was already there. How you renaming something that already had a fucking name? Just help me understand, right? So, you want to come to America because you took your ass to South Africa where you thought you could pillage off their resources, their land, kick the natives, the aborigines off of their land, enslave them, take their land, then give them crumbs when you realize you really can't fully do that shit. But you still take the majority. You take their coast. You put up your mansions. You put up your tourist destinations. You got your little yacht marinas. And when they like, yeah, nah, all right, yeah, actually, nah, give this shit back. We ain't give this to you. We're taking this shit back. Yeah, you can't come here and place your name on this beach. This our land. Fuck you think this is. Yeah, nah, this not gonna happen. Oh, now it's a hate crime because you white? The caucasity. But it wasn't a hate crime. It's not a hate crime that y'all come and take people of color land, no matter where the fuck they at, whether they in America or Africa, if they in South America, Mexico, Guatemala, Peru, the islands, like Australia, India, Britain, England, Canada, the Philippines, like anywhere and everywhere, Germany. So you telling me you can go and pillage, rape, murder with no consequence, and it's okay because you told the history? It wasn't a hate crime when you did it. It's not a hate crime when y'all still do it now. It's not a hate crime when y'all go and target black people, people of color, just because they're people of color. It's not a hate crime when y'all don't hire somebody because of their name, because you assume they're ignorant based off their name. That's not a hate crime. It's not a hate crime. The reason y'all had DEI wasn't because of black people. Y'all know y'all didn't give a fuck about DEI when it came to people of color. Because y'all still would only do enough for interviews to say y'all covered the basis and foundation of what it took to reach that DEI grant, to get that DEI funds and sponsorship, and still didn't hire the black person even though they were qualified. In some instances, y'all would say they were overqualified just to not hire them. Meanwhile, you hire your conclusion, your white friend, your white kin, who is underqualified, but because they're white. The reason DEI was put in place was because your white women were being treated just like your black slaves. And your white women wanted rights. So our black asses help your white women get rights. Which was to the benefit of us. Very slightly though. Very minimum. Because even though we helped your white women get rights, they act like we ain't helped them get shit or ain't been shit and never will be shit. So in turn, they want to take what we have and put out into the world and give to the world and take it and name it and claim it as their own. Hence why Aunt Jemima is no longer Aunt Jemima. When in all honesty, they should have kept it Aunt Jemima so they can remember the history and the face that was on that bottle. A black woman, not a white person, not the milling company, the Miller company, whatever it's called. Because now you truly have erased the memory of Aunt Jemima, who wasn't an Aunt Jemima, but the real person behind it. They should have rebranded that bottle and put her face, the true woman, up there. Just like the pancakes, put the real woman's face, name, put the true history on the side or the back of the box. And make sure that her children get and reap the benefits of the seed she planted years ago. But that was taken from colored people, and so the humans, colored people, right? In so many ways. Literally utilized for resources, drained and depleted, and told to just basically disappear. And if you didn't disappear, they would make you disappear. True magicians. True magicians. Conclusions is what I call them. And not every white person is the same. Not every black person is the same. Understand that some black people are conclusions too. When y'all talk about Uncle Tom's, understand that y'all not even talking about the real thing, because Uncle Tom was an upstanding man. If we want to talk about the real story, Uncle Tom was the one who was trying to save your black ass. Sambo is the nigga that you should have been worried about. And a lot of these niggas out here is Sambos. Out here for their own gain and benefit. And I could name a few, but y'all probably gonna be trying to come in and get me. That's fine though. It don't even matter. But it's plenty of niggas in this world that are Sambos and gonna tap dance for them conclusions. And in turn, they conclusions as well. Because if you want to bring an end to something at the benefit of you, you're a conclusion. The Romans were conclusions. The Nazis were conclusions. The Americans, conclusions. Some of them British niggas, conclusions. French, Portuguese, Caucasians. And I'm talking about all the white ones. But once again, there's black ones involved as well. Oh, I got Caucasians in my family, white and black. Anyways, let's talk about back to Africa, because I went on a tangent, but I'm just trying to be honest and get y'all to see the bigger picture. There have been massacres in Ethiopia for decades. I'm looking at an article from 2021 about how in Western Tigray, farming communities, Amharas came into their villages, their farming communities, their towns, and murdered people. And they ran to the Sudan. It says that almost 800 people they ran to neighboring counties for help. And some of those people took them in. And some of those people went out to help kill. They said they stormed into people's homes with machetes, knives, and axes, murdering all these people. Murdering fathers, and it looks like it's coming from both sides. So once again, nobody's being completely honest about who and why. So the portion I just read said that the Tigrans killed that man and took him away from his family and left his family without a father and a husband. And they were Amarans. And then the Amarans came and killed up the Tigrans and the Tigrans. So once again, brother against brother, sister against sister, father against father, mother against mother, father against son, daughter against mother. Why aren't we realizing as a people that we are a reflection of each other? We think God is coming back to destroy the world. We're doing it. He doesn't need, he doesn't need to come and do anything because we're helping him. When truly he doesn't need our help. But here we go, extending ourselves, overextending our hands, doing shit we don't need to be doing. Kenya, Ethiopia, all these places in Africa being devastated and ravaged by death. And you know it's so crazy. What year is this? What year is this? 2023. It said 1,000 people. Now the article from 2 years prior to that said almost 800 people. So only in an additional 2 years, 200 more people died. I doubt it. The information is not being put out. They're not really saying the truth about what's been going on in Africa with these mass killings of our colored people, of African people, of colored people. Ongoing mass killings since 19 1989. So it looks like consistently there has been at least consistently at least 10 or more mass killings every year since 1989. 1989. They're saying in 2023, nearly 18,000 people have been killed. Well, almost 19,000. Right now, because of all the devastation, they are experiencing crisis levels of hunger, so famine. And what comes with all of that, with death, devastation, famine, we got disease. I'm pretty sure they're experiencing all the type of things that we look at as the end times, biblical end times. But it's at the hands of man. God is not doing this. This is man's hand. So says state led mass killings. Burma, Myanmar, Ethiopia, Nigeria, North Korea, Philippines, South Sudan, Sudan, Syria. I feel like I just named all of those places. Ongoing non-state led mass killings. Burkina Faso, Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Iraq, Nigeria, Pakistan, Somalia, South Sudan, Sudan, and Syria. It said more than 450,000 people have been displaced. And I'm willing to bet it's a lot more than that, because if we are looking over, see, exactly. As soon as I say that, I scroll and see something else. More than 10 million people have been displaced. More than 26 million people are facing hunger crisis. Why did I say crisis? And this says 11 million people in Sudan have been displaced. Okay, what's the problem? Because I haven't heard anybody really wait, and I'm not going to say I haven't heard or seen some people talk about this, right? But the people that I've heard talk about this are people who actually live here or who have family ties, direct family ties to here. I have not heard anyone say anything about stop the ethnic killings in Ethiopia, stop the killings in Kenya, stop the killings in Congo, stop the killings in South Africa and Sudan, stop the let's protest, let's send aid, listen resources. Let's get involved. I haven't seen America say anything about the people of color being slaughtered every day since 89. Meanwhile, we're sending aid, and I'm not saying I'm against it. What I'm saying is we're sending aid to Israel for Palestine. We're sending aid to Palestine. We're sending aid to Ukraine. We're talking with Russia. We are trying to get involved with Syria. We got our own little coups and missions we got going on in the sea and on land that they're trying to keep secret, but they're leaking to the media, lying about that they're doing behind closed doors. They're going to turn around and say that it was a terrorist that did it or some foreign entity. Meanwhile, it was America, just like they did in previous occasions, just to implement their agenda, which I truly believe Trump is on a martial law agenda, and once some shit shake, he's going to be able to pull that Trump card, ha ha ha, and he's not going to leave office. And in turn, the 2030 agenda is going to be in play, which they have already been trying to establish, and they already have been slowly rolling out. Whether you want to believe it or not, you can do your own research. It started overseas. I'm in the States, so when I say overseas, it started overseas in England, I believe England and Australia possibly, where they have a part of that 2030 agenda where they have the idea of 15-minute cities, and they go in and okay, sorry for that. I just hope it's still working, because sometimes I hit it and I be thinking maybe that's why the audio be going out. But anyways, they have this idea for 15-minute cities, and you can let them lie to you and say it does not exist, but it is in their government archives, not archives, but their current paperwork. If you know anything about Johns Hopkins and their research institute and the different projects they have with different government agencies, it's there. If you've heard anything about the 2025 agenda, you would see that those go hand in hand. But anyways, let's jump back. So they have been trying to implement maybe over the past 3-4 years. I can't even remember when I first ran across this information and when they had started doing it, because when I came across it, they were already in the throes of doing it. So anyways, overseas, England, Australia, I believe, like I said, they started implementing something sort of close to a 15-minute city type of framework, where a 15-minute city is you're living in a city, a community. You have a grocery store, your church, your schools, your hospitals, your everything within 15 minutes of you. So it's gated off or closed off. You have an entry point, which is the same exit point. You have somebody basically standing watch or guard, tracking your in and outs. Hey, where you're going. If you're leaving the city, you're going to what city? Do you have a reason to be in that city? You go to that next city, you got to check in there, explain why you're there, yada, yada, yada. So with that came the ideology, because they're trying to the Guidestones. I don't know if anybody remembers the Guidestones. I believe they tore the Georgia Guidestones down, but it had that Freemasonry or Masonic type of credence on it, or credo, where they wanted to shorten the population. They wanted to limit the population to a certain amount of people. They wanted to get rid of certain resources, only utilize certain things. I can't remember it. I wish when I lived in Georgia, I would have actually went there. I lived around that area. It wasn't too far. It was far, but I could have drove. I used to drive hours to places any other time out of the state and whatever in state. So, but I do have images somewhere that I got saved on one of these 1,000 computers that I have, that maybe I'll do a video and we could talk about it and run through it and compare it to the 2025 and the 2030 agenda. But nonetheless, this is the ultimate credo of the Georgia Guidestones. Securing a better world by decreasing the population, giving one religion, having one no government basically, or one person over the government, one common ideology of a whole lot of different things, which is the basis of the 2030. So in England, they had this going on. They also threw in, which I kind of peeped from my kids going to school. I saw it from when my daughter first started school 7-8 years ago. I understood and I could see the nuances, and I didn't necessarily know what was going on until maybe like a year or two later when I came across this other information. But I could see where they were trying to like grab hold of what China is doing with that good citizen shit, and where China has, you know, the point system for the citizens, and you're always being monitored on camera. If you litter, it takes away your points. If you're cussing in public, it takes away your points. If you're doing some dumb shit, jaywalking, takes away your points. Driving, you're speeding, you get in a car accident, everything is automatically calculated. You got a scoreboard that you can keep track of. You hit certain limit, whatever the government sends you, like you lose money, you can't get money, like it's all tied in and connected. So I seen how they were doing that, because in school they keep harping on good citizen. What makes a good citizen? Well, who's a good citizen? Well, this is what you could do to be a good citizen, and this and this, and the good citizen this, and good citizen that, and what should be this, and then to this, and then how they have this bullshit called RIS points, or like, why would you shorten the word charisma? And then you're using it improperly to do some shit and coincide with good citizen. So I put two and two together, like, oh, they're trying to implement this Chinese shit for the future for our kids' generation, because they're trying to get them already, their mind set on this is this, and this is how you should act, and this is what you should be doing in public, and when you're not in public, and this is how you should be maneuvering and thinking, because you're going to be looked at and people are going, okay. Anyways, so with that came a stipend, because their main goal is for people to rely on the government. You're not going to have gardens and farms, and everybody's basically going to be kind of living the same life. And so with that comes a stipend for people who can't work. They would get this stipend, or maybe they were thinking about doing it for everyone. You getting a certain amount of money a month. Also, on one hand, if you're able to work, you have to work. So you got two different scenarios, or three different scenarios going around. But either way, they gave stipends to the citizens, and to see how they would be able to use just that stipend to take care of themselves for a month. So while this is going on in England and Australia, they started to implement this in the States. And they started with like the Midwest, and it was like 2 or 3 states that started this. And I believe, I want to say it was one of the Dakotas, maybe West Virginia, and another state, maybe Ohio or Idaho, somewhere. And if anybody was one of those people who was selected by the government, feel free to comment. But I came across that like a few years ago, and saw that they had started to do the same thing, and they was doing it with the stipends. And I was just like, I wonder if they also, even though they're not talking about it, maybe they did it with the cities as well. And I honestly believe that's what the world is coming to. And I feel like getting involved in all of these wars and situations puts America in a particular spot that maybe Trump wants us to be in, because he wants a certain amount of power. Not sure why. I know a lot of people out here think he's maybe, doing the Lord's work. What Lord is the question I have for you? What Lord? Because if you know anything that I know, if you read even one book, heard anything, had your ears open just a little bit in life, you will know that people have a lot of lords in this world. So what Lord, right? What God's work are you doing? What God's work? Because I honestly, and I'm not no prophet, I ain't no saint. Definitely a sinner. So take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't care what you see on this page. Take it with a grain of salt. Weigh it out. Test it yourself. Test me. Test what I say. That's what you're supposed to do to anybody you listen to anyway. Why do y'all take these people's word for it? Go fucking test it out yourself. Go do your own research. Don't be that dumb who believe everything, especially with the way AI is going on right now. Y'all believe any and everything. And it saddens me. It hurts my heart for y'all. It truly does. And I know this video, I'm about to end this video because this is, oh, dang, I'm at an hour. I hope my audio is still here. Okay, so this is I should have made this a part 3 then. All right, we almost done. I'm just about to hit a few points. My point is, when it comes to Africa, who's fighting for Africa? Who has rallied for them? Like we have rallied for everyone. Once again, we have rallied for everybody. We've stuck our nose in everybody else's business, but we have not stuck our nose in any of these ethnic killings that have been going on for the longest in Africa. In fact, we are just aiding and abetting in it. And then we are defending the ones who are bringing ends to it. But this is it. The truth is we are not the same. And there's a reason for that. And no, it's not because of the color of our skin. It's not because of our hair color. It's not because of the phones we have. It's not because of the music we listen to. It's not because of what we wear. It's not because of who we sleep with. It's not because of our beliefs. It's not because of the president we voted for, the president we didn't vote for. It's not because of any of that shit. We are simply not the same because we were not created equal. Some of us were created for light, in light and in love. And our purpose in this world is to give light and to give love and to bring peace and to be a change. And other people were born out of the necessity for darkness. And we can see that with the state of our world right now, with the state of our concerns right now. Fuck a war. Fuck the countries. Look in your hometowns. What's going on with y'all kids? Your kids coming up missing, murdered? Women, men coming up missing, murdered? Some of us was born in light. Some of us was born in darkness. And like I stated, it's necessary. It's necessary evils. Because there are things in this world that others have to accomplish by the use of others. Right? Other people propel us to our destinies. Negative situations propel us to our destinies. The test is the testimony, right? How can you have a testimony if you never had a test? You don't get the lesson before the test, unfortunately. You get the lesson after the test. Our color is not what makes us different. It's not our hue. It's our heart. Our heart. And when we continue to be a people, regardless of what color we are, when we continue to be a people that prey on people and not pray for people, I don't care what religion you are. If you have a religion, then why aren't you utilizing the positive sides of your religion? It makes no sense to say, oh, I'm killing this person because they're a Christian and I'm a Muslim, when I'm pretty sure Muslims talk about love too. Talk about kindness too. It's crazy to say I'm a Christian and I'm going to kill this Arab or this Islamic person or this Buddhist because they are Buddhist or Islamic or Arabic. But if you're a Christian, you supposed to be a follower of Christ. That's what Christianity means. Following Christ. Christ follower. So if you're a Christian, Christ followed and Christ led with love. So why aren't you leading with love? Now, he might have led with some honest love, some disruptive love, some real stern love, but the nigga led with love. He ain't intentionally trying to hurt nobody. He told it like it was. Hey, you fucking up, bruh. Hey, y'all in here fucking up this church. Y'all embarrassing me right now. What y'all in here selling? Y'all in here selling some bullshit in my place? Nah, we can't have this. Get this shit out of here. Nah, absolutely not. Get it out. What you out here? Oh, y'all niggas out here doing what? You said what? Nah. I got you. I can heal that. Yeah, I don't know what they was on. Matter of fact, I do know what they was on. Unbelief. Don't even worry about it. I got it. Yeah. Hey, say, bro. Yeah, I see you, bro. Yeah. Yup. I appreciate you riding with me. I do, bro. But no. Hey, hold on. Let me talk, bro. No. All right. Go ahead, get it out. Yeah, you love me. Yeah, I love you too, bro. Okay, you done? All right, let me holler at you real quick, little bro. Yeah. So I already know what you got going. I'm just going, whatever reason, it's cool. Just go ahead and do what you need to do, bro. Because I know you're going to betray me. Nah, you already sold me out. Don't even worry about the money. I know, yeah. I heard the change clinking. I heard your pocket swinging. Yeah, when you walked in here, you was clanking. Yeah, I understand. You already done did what you did. Yep, it's all right. Understand that I understand. Like, this nigga still led with love. Hey, nah, bro. Nah. Oh, you think you gon'... Nah, I'm telling you, bro. I gotta go. I can't stay with y'all. Nah, they gonna take me out. They gonna get me, man. You know, Judas punk ass about to go on to do this dumb shit, man. Nah, I thought he was, but I mean, we had another lined up. Yeah, you ain't know Jake from down the street. Yeah, Jake was the next one. I seen it. I mean, I thought he had I seen the light twinkle in Judas' eyes, man. I seen it. I don't even know what happened. Nah, man. I really thought Judas was gone. You know, we had Jake. Nah, yeah, he went through with it. Nah, hey, chill out. Yeah, I know what you think about Judas, but nah, hold on, Peter. All right, you a goon and all that, Peter, but listen. Nah, I need you to listen. I understand about Judas. We ain't even talking about Judas no more. He gonna do what he gonna do. But Peter, you just like Judas too, you know? Right? Yeah, you is. Yeah. I'm not about to argue with you, Peter. Look, nigga, before I get out of here, all right, you gon' say you don't know me. You gonna tell them folks you don't fool with me. Yes, you is. I'm telling you. You say you ready to go. You ain't ready to ride, my nigga. I'm telling you. You gon' say you don't. Yes, all right. No, I don't know him. Yeah, don't you know G? Nah, I don't know, bro. Nah, I ain't never met bro in my life. You on, man, I seen you with Jesus the other day. Matter of fact, this morning when we came to get him, you was with Jesus. Nah, I'm telling you, I don't know, bro. Meanwhile, Jesus over here looking at him like, see, told you, nigga. And still loved him. In spite, despite, he already knew. For somebody that already knew what somebody was going to do and still chose to love and respect. Because let's be real, if that was any of us who had an inkling that somebody was going to sell us out to get killed or act like they didn't know us in a time where we needed somebody to know us the most, right? To have our back, to show up and ride out. Oh, niggas was... let's not act like we ain't turning it up, okay? Let's not act like if we didn't have the power that we would have offered them before we even got to that point. Shit, if I killed Judas, I ain't gotta die. Shit, if I cut Peter off right now, I ain't even gotta worry about that nigga being a fake nigga, right? So why is the world like this? Because it has to be. Why is all this death and war and rumors of wars and famine and hunger and disease and all this stuff going on? Because it has to be. Is this God's doing? It's not. It's the HUE-MANS doing. It's man's world. It's a man's world. It's a man's world. With man's hands, the man's plan. Everybody sleep right now. Everybody is asleep right now. Everybody is asleep right now. And if they understood that the best way through it is with love, the world would be such a better place. But we're so reluctant as humans to accept and love people who are different than us. We are too prideful to look outside of us, to understand that we're not the same, that we were not created the same, that we all have a purpose. And granted, while I said, yep, it is a purpose for darkness and light, but what if the majority, because some people just ain't going to be able to help it. Some people just are not going to be able to help it. Some things in the spiritual realm have to be broken. And some things people are not going to be able to know how to break and to loose and to release. But for the ones who understood and can understand the gravity of this is spiritual. You don't have to be that darkness. You don't have to take part in preying on other people. You have the opportunity and the choice to stand up and love people for being themselves, for loving people for being who they are, for being in purpose simply because they were born that way. But it takes a lot of self-love, and that is non-existent in today's time, because we have the world telling people who they should be, what they should be, how they should look, what they should talk about, think, and we're losing sight of who we are and what we were created to do and be, because we are no longer ourselves. We are copies, photocopies, copies of photocopies of other people. You were created as a blueprint. And if you don't respect yourself enough and love yourself enough to understand that there is nothing about you that you needed to change, that there is nothing inside that can't be changed. And once the inside changes, the outside reflects it. It is mental warfare mixed with spiritual warfare. When you realize you are amazing as the woman God created you to be. When you realize you are amazing as the man God created you to be. When you realize that that trauma is what affected you. That childhood trauma changed you. That childhood trauma made you want to be something other and different than who you are, because that way that other person that got that in that raw deal, maybe this other version of you won't get that raw deal. Maybe this alter ego of you is going to stop that abuse from happening in the future. Maybe, right? And we lose parts of ourselves trying to cover up parts of ourselves that were never supposed to be covered. One, because it was not supposed to happen. But once it happened, it was supposed to be used as a testimony. My whole thing with this was to show that no, we're not the same. Because we as a people, the world is warring for different people for different reasons, and then not warring for people for the same exact things, right? But also, maybe I was supposed to do this to get to the heart of the matter, the root, which is you. And realizing that in order to respect others, you need to respect yourself. And you can't do that by looking at the world, by listening to the world, by believing what the world says about you. No, you might not believe in God. You may not believe in the God I believe in. You may be deep into religion. You may not be in religion at all. You may be a complete atheist. I don't know. I don't know what it is, what you are. But you don't need a God to tell you that morally treating people like shit is wrong. You don't need a God to tell you that morally robbing someone is wrong. Taking something that is not yours is wrong. You don't need a God to tell you that morally snatching someone's life from them is wrong. You don't need a God for that. And if you need a God for that, then you got some work to do. And it starts within you. And realizing you have the choice, right? You have the choice. You have the choice. Well, I done clicked off. I don't even think there's no point of clicking back. We done. We're done. You have the choice to be better, to choose better, to love better, to leave this world better. Choose that. Be the same in that. If you see somebody being kind to someone, be the same in that. Copy that energy. Pay that forward. Don't pay forward the hate, the animosity, the anger. Love. I'm like, y'all, if y'all look at any other videos I have done, y'all will understand that I do other videos. I'm just talking because sometimes I get in those moods where I talk and I gotta move my hands. So I'm over here shuffling cards and I'm just pulling out love, 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 love. Beyonce card, love, just love. Like y'all have to learn, in order for this to change, it is going to be love that changes it. And I know that's like, because no fight just came. That's what everybody wants to do. And it's so hard. Everybody's fighting against love. Because it's so much easier to be negative than positive. Negative gets the attention. Positive doesn't. Negative gets shared more. Positive doesn't. The world is not going to change until we do. So change. If not for you, for your kids, for they kids, for they kids, kids. That's all I'm saying, y'all. All right, I'm done. Because this has been long. That's it. That's all.